Personally speaking, I love electric trains, and evidently a lot of you do as well. But they're not all as good as the rest. In fact, there are some that are quite bad. So today we'll be ranking them, starting from the bottom. Now, Britain is home to significantly more classes of electric multiple units than diesel equivalents. I won't be able to condense this video into just 2 parts. Instead, I'll have to make 3. In this video, I'll cover the 15 worst in my opinion, and follow the same semi-objective point system as the DMU version. Oh, and just one clarification. If 2 classes of train have the same score, which happens a lot, I will just choose based on which one I personally prefer. I know it's not really backed up by any evidence, but I can't think of any better way to do it. Now, I would list all the classes I'm reviewing, but I do fancy saving my voice for the rest of the video. Therefore I won't do that and will merely play the intro and get right into it. Right away, in 41st place we have the Class 313. I really hate these trains. I think they look quite ugly. They sound nice, but that's about the only good thing. Performance is rather dire. They have a very low top speed of just 75 miles an hour, and acceleration certainly isn't great either. Furthermore, they're extremely spartan on the inside. Take a look at this. They also follow that really weird BR thing where they only have 2 windows in between the doors. It's just not enough. There is very little to like about these trains if you ask me. In 40th place, with also 29 points, we have the Class 319. This is only slightly higher because it's longer. It can deal with capacity a little better, though you could argue that's not really required on the 313, at least on the South Coastway routes. Anyway, the Class 319s look hideous. They're also very slow at accelerating, all things considered, and whilst the 100 mph top speed is nice, there are plenty of other trains that can reach that speed but accelerate much faster. Whilst I do rather like the seats, they're positioned very low to the ground and a 3+2, which is never okay. Overall, these are trains that other ones can fulfill their purposes much better. Now in 39th place we have the Class 455. I hate these trains. They seem to have quite a large fan base. I do not know why. They look bad, have dire acceleration when you consider their routes, and overall just feel old. Which they are, I suppose. These might not have been that bad back when they were introduced, but this isn't then. This is 2022, and commuter services deserve a lot better. Fortunately, they are being replaced by the Class 701s, if they'll ever enter service, that is. In 38th, we have the Class 717. They look bad, very bad, and that's because they were required to be fitted with a sort of staircase on the end, because they operate in the Moorgate tunnels. Therefore, if there was an emergency and you needed to evacuate the train, you lower the staircase and walk out the front. This is quite reassuring if you happen to be on the train and needed to get off in the event of a disaster. But it doesn't have to look that bad. But enough about looks. The trains have a very weird top speed of 85 miles an hour, and whilst acceleration is very good, I don't know why it's capped at 85. Surely it could go up to 100. Also, they are painfully uncomfortable to travel on. They've got ironing board seats, no toilets, no carpet, nothing. Just pure discomfort. The only thing they've really got going for them are the fact they have wide gangways and are modern. But modernity doesn't last long, as we all know. Modernity is a great thing to aim for with regards to a system, however it's not the only factor. When ordering new trains, they also have to be good, and when modernity is the only thing that's propping one up, well, that's a problem. In 37th place we have the Class 507 and 508, with 35 points. I don't think I've ever had a good journey on one of these trains. The seats are uncomfortable, the interiors look ugly, and altogether I can't find much pleasing about them. For a high quality metro service, I don't think they really cut it. In 36th place we have the Class 399. As you can see, it's a very easy train to rank, as it's not a train, it's a tram. Okay, I'll do a proper grid. But the thing is, you can't really compare it to anything else. In at 35 we have the Class 484, with 38 points. This is a very similar story to the Class 230, they're very closely related trains. Once again, I think it's a nice concept, and they're executed quite well, but ultimately, they're not great. In 34th place we have the Class 318, with 40 points. These are meh. They look bad. They do their job okay. They're just bad trains. They're nothing shocking though. In 33rd place we have the Class 334. They look bad and don't sound that impressive, but they do the job once again, and the seats are quite nice. Moving on to position 32, and we have the Class 376. These are very Spartan on the inside, but really aren't too bad when you consider that they're designed for sort of high-capacity metro services. The lack of air conditioning or toilets is shocking though. In 31st we have the Class 465, a real enthusiast's classic. They sound great and are overall quite good trains when you consider their age. However, they're probably a little old, and there are a few things that aren't fantastic, such as the 2+3 seating. Well, this is going to be a controversial one. In 30th we have the Class 700. Personally, I really like them, though there are a few areas that just let them down completely. First of all, they look great. They also sound good. I do like Siemens Desiro sounds. Furthermore, performance is exceptional actually. They're dual voltage, which means that they can collect power both from the AC overhead wires and DC third rail. This massively expands their area of operation, which is very useful when you consider many of the routes they operate. However, as soon as you step on board, things stop looking so good. The seats, yes, they're ironing boards and the same as the 717s, are hideously uncomfortable. And whilst the abundance of toilets and excellent PAS displays somewhat makes up for it, I don't understand why the seats had to be so bad. Furthermore, ride quality isn't exactly great either. Though those bogies look a little flimsy, so that's probably the explanation. Ultimately though, this wouldn't be much of a problem if they were only operating intense metro services in the centre of London. But instead, they operate quite long-distance services, such as Brighton to Cambridge. And for a journey of that length, even though I know most people aren't going the whole way, something a little more comfortable is really necessary. I think at least a few 700s should be retrofitted with more comfortable seating, for the longest and fastest journeys. Next position goes to the Class 378. These are okay. I really dislike the longitudinal seating, but I suppose it makes sense given the routes they operate. It's very high density. However, I really think that you should lengthen the trains before you start messing around with their seating layouts. They're only 4 or 5 coaches, that's not very long really. Moving on to 28th, and we have the Class 720, with 46 points. These are basically everything the Class 700s aren't, and this was intentional. They have loads of seats, hardly any gangway space, and, well, the seats aren't ironing boards. I don't know what to think of this too much. The seats are definitely better, and overall I prefer the general ambience of the train. However, there are just too many seats. The ideal would be a Class 700 seating layout with 2+2 seating and very wide gangways, but the actual physical Class 720 seats. As for the actual trains themselves, they're Aventras, so they're quite good. They look amazing from the body sides and the interior ambience is usually exceptional. Their performance is great too. They accelerate well, and the ride quality is fine for a modern train. And finally for this video, we have the Class 458 in 27th place. I better proceed this by the fact that they look very ugly, but that's common knowledge. And whilst they sound great, I don't think they bring that much to the table. They're not particularly reliable, nor are they particularly comfortable. Indeed, the interior ambience is downright bad. But there's nothing particularly wrong about them. It's just that other trains can do their job better, such as the Class 450. Well, that was my personal opinions on what I believe to be the 15 worst electric multiple units in Britain. You may disagree. That's fine, unless you like a Class 319. Well, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next instalment, which could be a very short time or a very long time. I really don't know. Anyway, feel free to join the Discord, and enjoy your Christmas.